Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Michael Heyman coming back at you at a higher level, high frequency. You got to take it to another level. I'm pretty sure everyone know by now they had another shooting in Atlanta, another controversial shooting. It's not going to stop because they are setting their ways. They're trying to put fear in people, but it's not working this time. It's backfiring on them. They tearing down all the monuments, the Christopher Columbus, because now we know they're being exposed. Everything is, since they was in the dark, it come to the light. Everything is coming to the light now. And like I say, Christopher Columbus was a slave trader. He was a murderer. He was anything you name. He was a mass murderer. Now that we know that, they're tearing the statue down. They're tearing the Confederate flag. Now, I told you about the Confederate flag. All this stuff is really based off of Egypt. They got everything in America is based off of Egypt, but they forgot about the rest of Africa because there was more than Egyptian dynasties in Africa. They had all kind of empires all over Africa. Timbuktu, the oldest university, is right there, Maui, West Africa. And it's named after the universe because everybody around the world came to get knowledge. Because they had the sum of all knowledge in that one university. That's why they could see 360 degrees, sum of all knowledge. Had astrology all the way to anything else you want to name. It was right there. And people came to learn from Europe, from Asia, everywhere. So we were scholars before we were slaves. The slaves they picked to come over here, they was hand chosen. They was, but they weren't just any slaves, because most of the slaves, they knew the land, knew how to cultivate the land. They had technology. So what they did was took the slaves that had the agriculture skills, they sent them to the south, and the ones that had the technology, they sent them to the north, the technology. But either way, they were learning from us. They was learning the medicine, the plants and everything in the south. And up north, they was learning the technology from us because we already knew the technology. So they just weren't getting any old slaves. They was getting doctors, lawyers. They was getting the higher people. They weren't just getting the lower people that was out there, They still had the information, but these people, they were specialists at what they did. Because that's how we built America, because they was using our technology and our brains. They was using everything. Now they selling the medicine to us. And I tell everybody, since they've been tearing all these statues down, the next thing we need to do is they need to get Mount Rushmore. And I say the Indians need to tear that down. Let them tear that down. It's going to come down, too, because everything about America is coming down. And I tell everybody, now, black people, take that white Jesus out your house. Or anybody you worship, take them out the house and put your husband and your father up there. And your mother. Those are the ones you're supposed to honor and obey and respect. Not no imaginary friends. Let their religion go, because it's going into the dirt along with these so-called empires built around the world. It's built off of false doctrine in the backs of poor people. Or slaves, that's what you want to call them. Poor people, they're slaves. And there's many forms of slavery. Mental slavery, that's the worst kind of slavery it is. But if you're a slave to your money and your power over people, you just as bad, worse off as a man that's oppressed. To be a slave, to be a servant. So you look at both sides, both of them. Two rights don't make a wrong. Both of them wrong. But how do we get right? We're going through a transition period. And one thing about nature, we have to adapt to it. It don't adapt to us. And it's all about nature. It change. Nature say change and the universe say change. We got to change. So we got to stop lying to the universe and lying to nature and putting that negative energy to the magnetic field, the electromagnetic field. We got to get in harmony. It's about balance. It's time for balance. So we're going through that transitional period that where the first be put last and last be put first right in front of your face. We're becoming first. But we've been first all of the time. We just haven't been conscious of it because they took our conscious and our subconscious mind, our cultures and everything and our language. We had to start all over. They dumbed us down and then they taught us their ways. And this the way it is. So what I'm trying to say is they took the laws of nature, the natural law, and gave us their man-made laws. And that's why we feel the need to go and vote and stuff for somebody to lead your life and everything. And all of the time, everybody, man on this planet, that's a leader, as long as you lead your family. And that's your first and foremost duty. And role is to be there with your family so you can lead and guide them through this transitional period. But you had to go through something before you could get to the right, your high vibration. You might have been out there wild and untamed and your lower vibration for some years, but something when you age, when you keep bumping your head, say like they say, when your dome not straight, you still in your wild state of mind. But sometimes you could grow yourself up. If you go to jail or something tragic happens to your life, it'll make you sit down and you heal yourself. And that's what healing yourself, you reprogram your brain to the truth. You got to unlearn what you learn in America because 95% of the things that you've been taught from Sunday school all the way up to high school into college, 95% of them, especially in high school and college, and from the kindergarten to the 12th grade, from the church to kindergarten to the 12th grade, because they taught you their history, but they didn't teach us ours. And now we know their history is a lie. They glorify their mass murderers. They glorify them because they see the world in a backwards way. They don't see it forward. That's why we see the world backwards, because they made us backwards like them. They made us uncivilized. So we think getting a gun and shooting each other to solve our differences, playing the video games and all this violence, and you think that don't affect you. Violence on TV, they make more movies about violence than they do about love. So that's the way they see the world. They see the world backwards. Evil, live. Evil, live. Live is evil spelled backwards. So if you see the world backwards, you're going to do evil things. You're going to do negative things. And they say that don't make no sense, but they got to understand they've been programmed. Because the brain is a big program. It got to be programmed to be righteous. They need that balance. They need the mother and the father there in the house teaching in the right way. Not all that degrading each other and calling each other out of their names. No, not all of that. You're going to keep them in their wild state of mind, so they're not going to be able to cope with the world. And they're going to get out there by themselves, but they're going to be confused until they grow old enough where they could change that. So if you could change it, that means the law was already in you. You just didn't get the right message from the beginning. And your past is ready available. Your past will never leave you because that's what you remember. That's your story. And how you was treated, what you was taught when you came in this world, that's your story. And that's how you see the world, whether it's positive or negative. So right now, we're going through a transitional period where the positive is going to take over the negative. The people that's negative, they already together, and they believe what they believe. But the ones that are more positive, they got empathy. Those are positive people. So we've been separated. We know who's the negative and the bad negative and the good positive. So that's why everybody is talking about black power. Black power is actually, blackness is dark, is energy. Everything starts from the dark to the light, not from the white to the black. Even the seed in the ground is starts from the dark to the light. A seed in the mother's womb is starts from the dark to the light. So everything is molded and shaped in the darkness. And that darkness is energy. The dark world, the underworld, the subconscious mind is energy. That's how things are formed, through that energy in the dark world. So when it comes to blackness, everybody, the melanated man, the melanin in his skin is two different dark. One is dark skin, dark. The skin is dark and all kind of shades and it's melanated. But the melanin in everybody's body, the dark skinned people, is greater than the less dark people, the light skinned people, those white people. So the power in the melanin is very powerful. It's like a magnet. It's electricity and magnet. And electromagnetic energy is electricity and it's magnetic. And we got the most powerful electric energy and the magnetic energy on this planet. So both of them, one charge, another one attract, pulls. So it's no coincidence that everybody is following us, because everybody's putting up their hands, black power, because everybody comes from the blackness of the mind, the blackness of the inner self. That's where everybody is black. And that's where the real black power comes in. That's why everybody is saying it, because they've been following us the whole time. We've been in the head. We just haven't been conscious of it. We took over basketball. We took over football, had baseball. We're taking over the acting. They already been using our brains and everything we create. They dance like us. So they let you know it's right in front of you, but you're not conscious of it. You won't even see it and you can't put it together. You think there's something wrong with them and you, but all of the time they're trying to be you and take your energy and use it right in front of your face. They make money off us. We still their slaves. They don't even know it, because you still vote for their laws instead of nature's laws. Which one is more important, nature's or man's law? And that's where we're messing up. That's where the whole world, because man, they make the laws, they are the rich people. It's all about them. It's not about the poor man. The white man, he put a price tag on everything on this planet. And we had it free. We didn't have to pay for no land, nothing. We inherited the whole planet. That's why I say this planet's for everybody. We just put it in share. That's why you have indigenous people all over the world, and they fit their climate, they fit where they live, the food they eat, and everything. And they say man don't live by bread alone. They say you need spiritual food and physical food. We got to start eating the right physical food, and we're more vegetarians than we are meat eaters. But the spiritual food we digest it. And people don't know the darkness of your mind, the melanin in your skin is like it's a magnet, but it also pick up all vibrations throughout the universe, throughout the world. Pick up vibrations from the animals, everything. And nobody else on this planet had that power like that but us, because of the melanated skin. So they've been following us all of the time. It's no coincidence. Everybody, like I say, everybody is talking about black power, because that's the real black power. It's not the color of your skin. The white man said we were black and he was white, but that's really not. That's just a title. But it's really, because we got different shades, and our shades come from that dark skin African brothers and sisters. The mitochondrial gene is the mutated gene for all human races. And to go back to the black woman, she has it. She could pass it, but the man can't pass it. But all women have it. But she got the dominant mitochondrial gene because she's the original woman. So that melanin, when you look up in the sky, you see the dark matter. They say they don't know what it is, but it's melanated. So we got the melanated power to connect to the electromagnetic energy. We got the power to put the earth in order and in harmony. Because you got to look at it. They say the ice is melting in the North Pole, the polar bears. They got to adapt, just like we had to adapt. And that's what it's all about. And you don't vote to adapt. You don't go to church to adapt. When nature changes, you got to adapt to it. It's one thing about nature. We got to adapt to it. We don't adapt to it. It don't adapt to us. When it starts raining, thunder, and lightning, you got to adapt. When hurricanes come, you got to adapt. When the snow falls in the north, you got to adapt. And nature's dictating all of this. So that's why we got to go back to the laws of nature, the laws of the universe, because everything has laws. And we're the only ones that's outside that our law. So this is what it's all about, realignment. Because if everybody was raised in the right way, they could see and knew astrology, they'll know what time it is. But a lot of people running around, they don't have no answer. They complaining, but nobody explaining it. And when you're blinded by lies, the truth be right in front of you. You can read it, you can hear it. But you got to hear it before you can see it. But people speak it all day, but if they don't get it to you in the right message, in the right way, it'll go right past you. Because it's a certain way you got to give it to people. You got to talk to the heart, the spirit. The spirit, you got to talk to the heart. The message is already written into it. And the spirit of your heart, that fire, it knows itself when it hears itself. It knows that one truth. And that's when the real battle begins between the conscious and the subconscious mind. Because if you've been raised by a lot of lies and you still believe it, like our president, he's not going to change because that's the way he see the world. That's the way he was taught to see the world. So long as he got money and stuff, he's fine. But that don't make it, he don't have no common sense. He might have money sense, but no common sense. So the best way to get common sense, you got to go through something hard. You got to go through something tough. And then once you hear yourself from that, then you become a messenger. You could tell somebody something because you went through something to get to that point. And all you did was you had to grow yourself up. You had to train yourself to be righteous. I mentioned before, healthy, H-E-A-L-T-H-Y, heal thyself. They say God did this for you. You have the God of you, the God that's in your heart. That blueprint, your ancestor wisdom is that blueprint. And that's what you did. You fed the root, your own personal connection to that spirit. Everybody got a spirit in it, so that means we all connected to that one universal soul, that one spirit in the sky, the one soul of the universe. That's why I had mentioned about man don't live by bread alone, he needs spiritual food too. And a lot of people don't know the plants make their food out of photosynthesis. That's how they make their food. And the chlorophyll is like the melanin in our body. That's why we got to eat the plants. They say you drink the orange juice, you're drinking the sunshine. But when you eat the plants, you eat the sunshine also. But you also eat the earth. Because what's in the plants is in the earth, and what's in you is in the earth. So it's all connected. And one thing, if we eat properly, the way we're supposed to, unmanufactured food, our bodies will make all the medicine that we need, the insulin and everything. But we got to eat properly. We got to eat the way nature planned it. So your pineal gland and your melanin in your skin, like I say, it pick up vibrations through your hair. That's why it spirals out. And they'll tell everybody, oh, he's tender-headed. No, he's not tender-headed. They don't understand that our hair is the extension of our brain. It's attached to your brain cells and brain fiber. So when we pull it, it hurts, but it's energy. And it's the right way you got to comb it, because once it nap up, that's when it get really, really, really more energized and more electricity to it. You can take a comb, a plastic comb, and your hair's nappy and comb it out and put some paper down on the table and just cut it up and put it next to that paper and see if it don't pick it up. That's the electromagnetic energy that we possess in our hand and our body. It's energy. That's why I had to go toward the sky and everybody else come out straight and go toward the ground. They had to adapt to their climate. They went in. The Caucasians and the Asians, they had to go long to cover their bodies because they was in the cold. But ours go to the sky because it's more like an antenna, a solar panel. It absorbs heat and absorbs information, vibration through the air, vibration from the universe. So the skin and our pineal gland, the melanin, it's like a conductor. There's a track. It charges and it attracts. So the spiritual food, one thing about our melanin, it'll take light energy and sound energy, like through music, and like soul music. And it'll take that energy, whether it's good or bad music, it'll take whatever energy it is and turn it into food for your body, nourishment for your body. Just like plants making food from photosynthesis, we make food also through spirituality. That's why the soul music is, it made me feel good, made me want to have babies. I made babies off of that because it's sending that positive vibe. It's about love, that love vibration, that love zone. It's making you feel good. So that music, you turn it into food for your body, food for your soul. So there's two kinds of food, soul food, the spiritual soul food and physical. But the soul food that we are eating, we talk to eat, I'm not talking about that soul food. That's what we had ready available, so we had to eat it to survive. But now we're becoming more conscious of what we eat now. And a lot of people are going away from meats, especially pork and beef. It's hard to digest because we're really not meat eaters, we're more vegetarian. That's why I ask women, well, take surveys, ask them, what did you eat while you was pregnant? Say, I like fruit and vegetables. What about meat? Oh, I didn't like the smell of it. So the body talks to you. The baby talks to you, tell you what you want to eat. He's in control, he or she. As soon as that mother get pregnant, she start craving. Her body and the baby is telling her what to eat. So if you look at the mother, you could tell basically her basic diet. Now some women just eat anything, but I'm talking about the majority. You got to take surveys of different people around the world and everything, different cultures and everything. And most of them say fruit and vegetables, except for Europeans, because they are more meat eaters. See, they had to adapt too. That's why they turned from dark skin to light skin to Caucasian, from African to Caucasian. They got a lot of sulfur in their body. We don't. The one thing about sulfur, when you heat it up, it'll freeze. When you freeze it, it'll boil. So that's why white people in the wintertime, they go and take a plunge. But the water, once they hit it, it's gonna feel warm to them because of the sulfur in their body, but we don't have a lot of sulfur. We got a lot of metal. They don't, not like we do. They got some, but it's lesser than ours. So So that's why they had to put a lot of metal in their medicine. And we don't need a lot of metal in our medicine because we're full of metal. Iron, copper, you name it. Gold, you name it. We're full of it. So that's where the side effects come in with us when we take their medicine. It got too much iron, too much minerals. And we already got those minerals, so you overload your body with all those minerals. Because too much of a good thing is bad for you also. So we got to be careful what we eat, what we digest in spiritually and physically, especially spiritually. Because everything in the universe spirals, the sun, the moon, your hair, even when you flush the toilet, it spirals because it creates energy. Hurricanes, it spiral. Everything spirals. Even a seed will spiral out of the ground. A man's sperm is spiral to the egg. And a lot of people don't know that the sperm, right on the tip of the sperm, the head of it is full of melanin. And they don't know the black woman's egg, the women's eggs, is full of melanin. It's covered by melanin. Melanin is all over the place. So when you say black power, that's what they're talking about, the melanated, the carbon, 666. That's the black power for everybody. It just depends on how much carbon you got in your body. It's like a status. Black of the bear, sweet of the juice. Black mixes everything, make it better. So every time black people mix with other races, they create another race. Nobody else could do that. You know, when we could do that, it's because we are 100% human. Everybody else got Neanderthal. And I think that contributes to some of the bad behavior that Asia, the Japanese, and the Europeans have because of that. Because Homo erectus, that's the Neanderthal. He left Africa too soon. He doesn't finish developing his brain. But the ones that stayed, they turned into the Homo sapiens sapiens. So on the journey out of Africa, that's when they met up with the Neanderthals on both sides, and that's when they started mixing. And by the time they spread it out to China, and the Mongoloids, they already had it in them. Mongolia, all of them, they already had it in them. By the time Europe flourished and got populated, they already had it in them. So if you want to say somebody three-fifths human, they was talking about themselves. We're 100% human, 100% human hair. That's why our hair is so unique. It's full of energy. It's an antenna. It's like I said, it's the extension of your brain fibers and everything. That's why it hurt when you pull it. That's why kids cry. It's a certain way you're supposed to pick your hair out and comb it. And everybody don't know your hair grows because it's spiritual too. It grows in a spiral pattern. The swirl at the back of your head, it swirls around. So everything is built off of spirituality. That's why we're spiritual people. We're not religious people. Religion is what's distorting your spirituality. So if I pain the glands and I'm melanin in my skin transfer that light energy and sound energy to food, and we got that electromagnetic energy, that means we got the power to put the earth in order, to send the signal to the universe, to put everything in order and the people in order. And that's the transition we're going through. We're going through a new world order where only the meek and the humble We inherit the earth. And it said the poor man is the blessed man. So the men on the bottom and the women on the bottom have been struggling every day to live from hand to mouth. They're the ones that use the more common sense. They had to be forced to use common sense to survive. And that's natural sense. Common is something that's natural. Now, the rich man, he had money sense. But how was he making his riches off the poor man? That's why they say the poor man is the blessed man. He's the one going to inherit the earth. Because once we inherit the earth, we're going to go by common sense. And we're going to raise our children by common sense all over the world. That's that one law, that one message, that one doctrine. Not all these false doctrines. That's why I said we got to stop lying to nature and lying to the universe, because we turn our back on both of them. That's why a lot of people don't understand what's going on, because they're waiting on somebody to tell them and fix everything for them. And you can fix it yourself. The politicians, they don't have no answers. They don't have no solutions. Nobody. They're complaining, but nobody's explaining. The religious people, the so-called preachers and religious leaders, they don't have no answers. They're complaining too, but they can't explain. They have no solution. And there's only one solution. And that solution to everybody's problems on this planet, not just ours, but everybody's on this planet. The only weapon they got against you and I and everybody else. And a lot of white people waking up knowing that they tricked us first before they tricked the world. And the only weapon they got is keeping you from the knowledge of your true self, your true nature. That's everybody on this planet. See, we under false nature right now. That's why things are not working. We under man's law, not nature's law. If we go by nature's law, we have order. And I'm trying to get black folks, and well, a lot of us know that they got to come through us to get to that promised land that Martin Luther King was talking about. But now that we at the mountaintop, like you said, I see you when you get there. I might not be there with you, but I see you when you get there. See, that's your high vibration. That's the top of the mountain. That's what he was talking about. So we got two heavens. Once you liberate your mind will be in heaven, because you'll be in your right state of mind and you see the world the way you're supposed to see it. But then there's a heaven above, and that's the universe. That's the higher power. Everybody pointing to the sky, they pointing to the universe. The universe and the sun and the moon, those are the higher power, because that's what creates everything. That's what creates life on this planet. Those are the higher powers. So the universe is in control of everything. So we got to obey the laws. And the universe had triggered all of this to happen so we could see. When you get angry, you kind of break the truth out of you, the spirit. That's why everybody got that fire. And they're not backing down, but they're using their voice. They're not violent with it, but they're still using their voice. And the most ones that's using their voice are the ones that's in the hood. It's something that's on top of the intellect, but the common sense I'm talking about, they come from the bottom, from the poor man. They're not afraid to say and speak up. They don't have nothing to lose. So they can say what they want to say. And they're saying it too. Now the youth are leading the way. Now the wisdom got to come and back them up. And that's what's going to wipe everything clean. That's really what's going to catapult us, or what you want to call it, exalt us back to the top, where we belong, where we've been all of the time, but now we're conscious of it, and they can't stop it. Because this is a natural change, a natural procession. Evolution, we got to adapt to it. We don't adapt to it. It don't adapt to us. So if man keep going the way we are, man gonna destroy man. Man gonna destroy nature. He gonna destroy itself. Because all these rich leaders and everything, and these so-called dictators and leaders, all they want to do is fight and kill each other. And they get the poor people to fight their battles for them. They did something. How about you die for your country? You're supposed to be dying for your family and fighting for your family. You ain't supposed to be dying for nobody's wicked country. And all the time they're trying to do is dominate your land and tell you what you can and can't do. How you gonna make nuclear weapons and let nobody else because you want to stay on top and have the power? The one thing about it, the nuclear weapons, the guns and everything can't go up against the truth. That's the mightiest weapon. And that's what we possess. We the possessors of that truth. So we got to uplift the world to its higher frequency. But first we got to, as a collective, we got to unite and lift ourselves and liberate our mind. So we go to that higher frequency. And that's all we got to do, put the family back together. That's the only way you're going to achieve that higher frequency. Black man got to know his natural role. The black woman got to know her natural role. And combine together in harmony, in the righteous harmony. Until the children, I don't care who it is on that planet, to get the right message. And they leave home humble and full of wisdom already to guide them through their life. This is for every child on this planet. No child left behind. And that one message will put everybody on the same happy medium, the same vibration. But they got to come through us. Because we're the first ones, we're the only ones that have that higher vibration to the universe that connects. So if you want to say the polar bears and all these animals that are going extinct, they got to adapt also. But we got the melanated power to stop all of this, to put everything in harmony. And once that achieved, the earth will stop evolution. And this is my quote. And you don't have to quote me on this or anything, but this is my belief. And there's a lot of facts to back it up. The earth has been growing, and it's in its final stage of growth. Like you can say, like we get full grown. The earth had to go through a process. Like I said, the truth is in the dirt. Earth's been growing. It's been giving birth to its own self. It's a big organism that sustains all these other organisms, grass, trees, plants, animals, everything you name. The earth provides for everybody. There's too much resources on this planet for any child to be hungry. I don't care what the color is. Any child to be homeless. Any child to be fatherless or motherless. That's why the village come in and the parents and the uncle, the community, is surrounded by that one child. That's what it takes, the whole world, to raise one child. I don't care where you live on this planet. We all connected. That vibrational field that the universe and the earth produce, that's electromagnetic energy. We got to reconnect back with that flow. And the only way to do that is the love vibration. That's the love vibration. So our soul music, like I said before, they made babies off of that. It was making you feel good. It was feeding you physically and spiritually. Physical food and spiritual food. But the spiritual food turned into physical food. That's why it makes you feel so good. Because it's talking about love. The vibration of love. So we've been planting the seeds of the truth in people all over the world through the soul music. And that soul music It's connected to your heart. It's connected to the universe. So the soul music, it'll connect you to the soul of the universe. That's why I say everybody needs a little bit of soulology. People talk about the soul and the spirit, but they don't know exactly what it is. It's all in the same to me. It's all intertwined together. Because the universe got its soul, the plants got their soul, the animals got soul. And it's all connected. That's why they call us soul brother, soul sister. And soul music, soul food, everything about the soul. So we are the answer. We got the solution. We are the solution. We are the answer. That's why we got to lift ourselves up to a higher vibration so we can lift the world up. So we can put the planet in order, and then the universe will be in order. And there goes your harmony. The promised land is promised to everybody. That's what King was talking about. Everybody promised a piece of this land free. And that's when everybody be more healthy and everything because you're going to till your own soil, grow your own fruit and vegetables. That's your money. So there's no coincidence that what's happening on TV and everything is triggering a lot of people around the world to wake up. This is natural procession. And like I said, everybody's been divided. We know who the good people are, the bad energy against the good energy. And this is what it boils down to, energy. That's why I said we got to stop lying to the universe and lying to nature. We can turn our backs on it. Because as long as we put those lies out there, everything is going to stay messed up. Because sound, vibration, it's sound. When we speak, when we sing, it's vibration. So the negative energy got to go. We could save everything. Because one thing about black people, they go around the world just killing animals just for sport. Or just for aphrodisiacs. Shark fin soup. You take the shark fins and throw the shark back. All you want is the fins. You go over there in East Africa and kill the gorillas for their paws. Because you think it's aphrodisiac. I'm talking about the Chinese and Japanese and all of them. I guess they think because they're short, it's going to make them powerful. But no, it don't work like that. That's superstition. Every time you kill these animals for fun and stuff and for aphrodisiacs and stuff, you killing the planet. The planet's sick because we sick. The black man, we at war with the white man. Both of us sick. But we evolving out of our sickness. The ones that's going to stay sick, they've been exposed already. Let them be. They say, oh, he need to change. He need to stop doing this. He need to stop lying. They're not going to stop doing it because they've been programmed to be that way. That's what we've been programmed to be slaves. We got changed on the brains. And you're not even consciously or subconsciously, you're not even aware that you still submit to the white man's system and you think it's real. But it's not. It's a big illusion. That's why people, when they hear the truth, is so unbelievable, they're not going to believe it. But it's going to make them mad. So when you tell them the truth and they don't get mad, you're not doing a real good job. If they don't call you a devil, you're not doing it right. They have to vent. When they get mad, all they're doing is venting because they're going against their core belief. They call it cognitive dissonance. I call it exorcism. Because they get mad and start spitting. But once they calm down, and that's the only way you can receive the truth is when you're in a humble state of mind. And once you get that anger out of it, because once you hear it, you can't unhear it. That's when it's going to sink in. And I tell everybody, you are a book. You got more information stored in your subconscious mind than you think you do. Once you liberate your mind, you'll see just how smart you are. and start feeding yourself knowledge. Everybody see just how smart they are. And that ancient wisdom that's locked up is recorded in your heart. You can wake up and you really start, like I say, your brain will start reconstructing itself. It'll kill off its false self and evolve into the true self. And that's what we've been doing through the 400 years of oppression. Like I say, the way we talk now, back then, look at the way we talk now. And those youth, they're very articulate and they are very smart. I'm talking about all of them on both sides, the educated ones and the ones from the hood. And that fire, that's why they're angry with it, but they in control of their anger. See, everybody got a right to be angry, but can you control it? Can you control that beast that's in you? Don't let it control you. The ones that can't control their anger, those are the ones that do things that's out of ordinary, or do something they regret. But it's controlled anger. You could be angry and spitting the truth, and that's all you need to do. But me, myself, the best way to, when you tell him the truth, is to laugh and dance. Because one thing about it, can't nobody change nobody's mind. Can't nobody do nobody's reading for them. You got to see for yourself. We were pretty much raised by that Willie Lynch methodology, that doctrine, that false doctrine. And that's what's got us holding us back, that false doctrine right there, but we not conscious of it. That's why you got to hear it before you see it. It's right in front of your face, but if you've been lied to, you're going to believe the lies. You're going to see the illusions, something that's not there. And one thing about it, can't nobody explain a lie. A lie has no scientific or no kind of explanation. That's why you got to keep telling another one. Like our president, he don't want to be wrong for nothing. Man. I know a lot of people hate to be wrong. So he'll never heal. The only way you're going to heal is you got to admit your faults and face up to it and own up to it. Because when you really look at it, it's not your fault. Because our parents and our whole family have been tampered with. You didn't have the right message from the beginning. But I've seen a lot of people change into that right message. I wish I knew back then what I know now. You're supposed to, but you're a late bloomer because you had to go through the hard route to get to that one truth. So they let you know that that truth is in everybody, that God spirit. So if you want to say God did this for me, yeah, the God in you. All you did was fed the root and fed the spirit. That's why I see a lot of brothers go into jail, but they come out and they heal themselves. They read books and they get smart and they heal themselves, but then they work for themselves. Well, I can't work and get no job because I'm a felon convicted. So y'all can keep that, but I'm going to start my own job. So I've seen a lot of brothers going in and they heal themselves and they self-efficient. They work for themselves. I don't have to work for it. So inadvertently, they making you work for yourself instead of work for them. So inadvertently, they helping you break those slave chains. And that's where it's supposed to be. Anyway, you ain't supposed to be working for another man. You're supposed to work for yourself. And if you got your own land and everything, you will work for yourself. You provide your family with everything they need. And you'll know what to grow and what not to grow, what to eat and what not to eat. You know the medicines. We go back to nature. Every tree on this planet got a different kind of medicine and antibiotics and all types of medicine. That's where they make turpentine from, the pine trees. And the slaves made that. And now you had to go to Walgreens or Kmart, Walmart to buy it. They're selling nature to you something that you can make for yourself free. That's true freedom. true freedom. And everybody's in harmony and nobody has to pay for anything. Because when you go to church and you put your money in that church, oh, you're not paying God. You're not paying for Jesus. You're paying for that pastor to live good. And they don't have to pay taxes. Yeah, as long as you preach our word, you don't have to pay taxes. You keep that money. But let one of them preachers go against their word and see if they don't shut them down. And there's a lot of them that's becoming conscious. That's the thing about it. But in the end, people going to find out that every time they open up their Bibles, they've been following black people. Nobody else on this planet got woolly hair and bronze feet but us. Look at the setting. You know, Rome is between Rome and Africa. That's who wrote the Bible was Romans, Constantine, and the Council. Nice's. They the ones that came up with that Superman Jesus. You see, they got all these super characters. Happen to be white. You got to bat that bit of a man and turn him into a Batman. A spider that bit a man, turned him into Spider-Man. The Green Lantern, he came from outer space. But Superman, they say he get his powers from the sun when white people burn in the sun. And kryptonite was his weakness. And the kryptonite really was dark matter. There go that blackness again. That was his weakness. And you got to, like I said, you got a bat that bit a man, he turned into a Batman, Dracula. And Dracula couldn't take the sun, and Dracula was burning inside out. And that's what melanoma is. No, you burn from the inside out. Cancer, skin cancer. So you see very few dark-skinned people. You might not see any that had that disease because the sun, the melanin blocks the sun out and it absorbs it at the same time, like energy. So that's what they did with Jesus. That was the first Superman you learned when you was a child. Can walk on water. He could perform miracles. He could do all of this stuff. He rose up in the sky, and all it is talking about astrology. His birthday was December. He rose in Easter. Talking about the sun, S-U-N. But that's all right. The stories are real. I don't care about the names and the pictures they gave because I know they were black people, and I know all of them was astrologers, and I know all of them, it was about change. When they was delivering the messages about change. Just like we going through today. Same message back then is the same message for today. But nobody wanted to hear it because they was caught up in their beliefs. No, this the right way, you know. And everybody said, Mike, this is the thing, Moses all over there. I said, yeah, this same story of Moses. Same thing that happened in the 60s happening now. So history repeats itself until we get it right. We could change the history in which we are. We already done that. These protests around the world, this is the first time this ever happened worldwide. And it's surrounded by us. One man that got choked out. But a lot of people got their knees on their neck. The white man still got that rope around our neck. But see, he also got a noose around his neck too. His riches, his beliefs, his lies. Those are his shackles. He got money sense, but no common sense. Take the money away from him, how is he going to survive? She's got nothing. So that money he got is an illusion to him. It's an illusion to us. But the hood, what they call the high crime neighborhood, they don't have no money. But they got more common sense than they do money. So we've been forced to use our common sense, our natural instinct. Whether you're working on primitive instincts or civilized instinct. Some people working on their uncivilized instincts, they primitive. That's why they shooting and killing and stealing. But it's still about survival. On the other hand, people get out there and work and everything, and do it the right way. But who are you working for? You might be getting paid minimum wage, but what are they making off of you? And see, that's what they want to do, keep us minimum. Keep us hungry and, close to starving, close to being put out your house. They want to keep you stressed out because they want to keep you down there. Because as long as the poor man stay poor, they benefit. But if you take the poor man out of the equation, how's the rich man going to survive? They're not going to know how. They take all the money out of the people from the world. Now the poor man, he didn't know how to survive because he been surviving already without money. He been going more on natural instincts. He and the sheep. They might be wild and stuff, but they still know how to survive. So inadvertently, the jails and everything, when you become a felon, they force you to go on your own and start your own business. I see it every day. There's a lot of smart brothers that's in that jailhouse. Some of them might not never get out, but them the ones that teach the young ones when they come through. The OGs against the young jits. The OGs against the YGs. And the older people are for counseling. And a lot of people, that's where you find your true self. You go to the inner self. Because you're sitting there by yourself, so you have nobody else to talk to but yourself. And that's who you need to talk to. Your inner self, not your outer self. We know what your outer self look at when you look in the mirror, but do you know what your inner self look like? What do you have contained in your brain and your mind? That's your character. So you can dress the outside up and look good and everything, but what's going on inside? That's your true character that was on the inside. And can't nobody hide the contents of their character. That's why King said you won't be judged by the color of your skin, but the contents of your character. And can't nobody hide that. All you got to do is listen to people's story, and you could tell how they've been raised, the truth or the lie, and why they have mental illness. Mental illness started in our mother's womb. If she mad, the children gonna come out upset. That's why they say don't spoil your child and don't provoke an anger. You're gonna raise a confused and evil child. Spoil, they think the world revolves around him. It's me, not you. What's man is man, what's yours is man. See, so we got the ability to change that. And that's what nature and the universe is calling us, because we got to line back up that family energy, that positive family energy, the village. It's all part of the family. And it's for everybody on the planet to go by that one law. And it's the only way we're going to achieve the harmony of the universe, the harmony of the planet, the harmony of our minds. So you don't come in this world uncivilized or civilized. But you are born not conscious of the world. And you're really a wild animal, a wild child. Because you're born with free will. But you got to be taught to contain that energy and be submissive to your own emotions. Because when we leave home, we're supposed to be master of our own self, master of our own emotions. Nobody master over you and tell you what you can and can't do. And everybody got their inalienable right to be free. That's right to given to all humans and everybody on this planet. Not man's law, but nature. That's the way nature planned it. Because we was made through nature. We was made through the feminine energy. That's why I stress a lot about our black women. They the key. Beyonce made this song, Women Rule the World. A lot of people really don't understand what she was saying. James Brown's song, This Is a Man's World. He told you there's nothing without the woman. Yeah, but man is the one that got everything messed up, not woman. That's why when they relate to God and the devil, they always say he. One man tell the truth, another one's a liar. Man's duality, and everything is built off of duality. That's why he had a positive and negative energy. The electromagnetic energy, they work hand in hand, but they submit to each other. They don't go against each other. And that's what we got to do, submit to each other and submit to our laws and our roles. See, the man got to be submissive too. To his natural role and his role, his duty as a man. And his duty is to guide and protect his family and provide. The mother's job is to help and guide and direct. All you got to do is listen to the OJ's family reunion. He'll break it down for you. And like they say, if all fathers in the world step up and be the fathers they spoke, the world will be a better place. And that's true. So, man, he got to check himself. He's not submissive to the law. How you gonna get a woman to submit to you when you're not submissive? When you're trying to lead your family through the so-called Christianity or Islam, it's not gonna work. All you doing is leading to man's law and the way man see the world. And they cultivating your mind with putting those shackles on your mind through religion. Religion, religion, something you repeat and you're bound to. Now, our religion was spirituality. Our religion was the bond with nature, the bond with the universe. Because you had to know these things and able to feed yourself that spiritual food, that spiritual nurturing, that spiritual energy. So that's what the spiritual food is about energy. Feed your body that energy, that positive energy. And if we eat right, the physical food, it'll give you positive energy too. How can an elephant, horses, and eat all that grass and stuff and be vegetarians and be so strong? So they let you know that plant-based diet has a lot of protein in it. They say, oh, you got to eat meat to get protein. Now, you eat all the plants you want to, you get the chlorine and the protein. The chlorine is like a blood cleanser. It'll purify your blood, cleanse all the, what you call it, the fluoride and all of that stuff out of your body. You got to drink it daily. And like I said, the chlorophyll is like the melanin in your body. It's some powerful stuff. So the SUN, that's the sun he gave us we all could live, is SUN. So around the world, they tearing down these racist white people. So they let you know they've been around the world spreading their Jesus, forcing on people. And where they went, they stole and they took. Now there's looting that's going on. I see people concentrate more on that than they are concentrating on what led up to it, than breaking in the stores. There's always chaos when change comes. There's always disease. Everybody against each other. But the truth will prevail. And the people that's going to inherit the planet will prevail with it. That's why you see me broadcasting a lot from the hood under the stars, because the hood is where the truth is going to come from the bottom to the top, from the south to the north. So we got to examine our roles as black people, as people, period. As black women, as black men. So we go back to the natural, the way it was before we came. We had order. We were civilized. Just look at the Africans you meet that come from over there. See how well-rounded they are. How well-spoken they are. how many languages they could speak. And you could just talk to them and ask them, how was Africa before the white man came? And they'll tell you. They'll tell you how it was and how we ran everything. They say, y'all disrespect y'all fathers over there. We don't do that over here. Y'all women talk back to y'all men. We don't do that over here. See, so we got to go back to the way we were before we came over here. This is not our true natural, our true nature. That's why our kids are misbehaving, because we misbehave. We're not doing the right way. The human race, to be out of order, it must be something wrong that we're doing. And it is. It is. We all sick. When we heal, the planet heal, the universe is in order. And it's waiting on us to send that signal to the earth. So the earth is sending a signal to the universe. And that's when harmony gonna set in. We're going through a purification. And that means everything is gonna be pure and natural. And everybody gonna be on one page. Harmony, love, that love vibration. That's what our hearts desire. That's what the earth desire and the universe. So it say, don't put your faith in that altar. It's man-made. It didn't say woman-made. It's man-made. Man led the woman astray. Not woman leading the man astray. This is all man's work. That's why you get too much power. That's why we too much left brain thinking. We're too patriotic instead of matriotic. You need that balance. It's universal balance. And it's only, like I say, it's only way to achieve that you got to get back to natural law. Because the procession we going through, we got to adapt to it. It's all about adaptation. That's how man evolved in the first place, through adaptation. They had to adapt to the cold weather. They had to adapt to the mountains. Even the ones that live off the sea on the islands, they had to adapt to the sea. Because that was one of their main food sources were the seas. They had plants, fruit, vegetables. But they were seafarers. They lived out the sea. And some of them halfway live in the sea, so they had to adapt to it. Island life, they had to adapt to it. Only place we couldn't adapt to was the South Pole. It's too cold. You had to be an extreme animal like the penguins and some seals and the killer whale to even live down there, because they got blubber, insulation, adaptation. They had to adapt to it, but we can't adapt to it. It's too extreme for us. When the sun come out about twice a year, and 2 months out of the year, 2 or 3 months, 4 months, I think it is. That's why plants and things like that can't grow down there. Fruit, vegetables, can't grow it. It's too cold. It takes heat and moisture to grow anything. Even us, it takes heat and moisture. You see how these children shoot up over the summertime. They grow just like the grass and everything, bro, with this heat and moisture. So like the optical proverbs say, you get to know thyself. It's a lot to your inner self. See, that's the part they left out. It should say, get to know thy inner self. But that's where self exists, your character. Everything you learn is in your brain. Everything you've been taught, whether it's good or bad, is in your brain. It's recorded. So your past is always readily available at any time. It's not going nowhere. That's why I say you can't hide the concepts you carry. You talk to people, they tell their story, how they was raised and everything. Just like when you go to the psychiatrist. But see, the psychiatrists don't have no answers. They give you some medicine, take this pill and stuff, and you feel better. You may change this. Oh, you need Ritalin for your children. No, they don't need no Ritalin. They don't have no discipline. See, he's hyperactive. He won't sit down. He was never taught to sit down. Who taught him how to behave? If you got an angry mom and your daddy not there, the children going, hey, that's what you're going to put in them. That's what you get back. That's why daddy got to be there and enforce that law. It's about discipline. It's about working together, harmony. Some tough love and some soft love, nurturing love. That's the mother and the father. Father bring the tough love, but the mother also, she got to be tough too. She can't be soft with us. She could be soft, but not all the way soft. She still got to have that stern hand. Animals, some animals are spoiled. The only one I seen do it was chimpanzee, but for most of it, the animals don't spoil their children. And they tough on them. They got to teach them. Just like we got to teach ours, but we're not doing it the right way. We think sitting the child in front of the video game and you running your mouth on the phone or doing something, running errands, and all of the time this video game is programming his mind. Some are going to turn out violent, some know it's just for fun. It just depends on what you was raised about, your environment. And all our environment started in the mother's womb. If she was angry, then you come out into this world and you come into an angry world. That's what Earth, Wind, and Fire was talking about. A child is born with a heart of gold, but the ways of the world makes his heart so cold. So that lets you know we was molded and shaped to be evil. A child is not born with sin. He don't know what sin is. He ever done nothing to sin. That let you know the truth is already in it. It's already blueprinted. But how did he turn evil? False doctrine. I either provoke the anger. See, so voices carry our thoughts and everything we put into the universe. It carries. It's connected. That vibration, they go all the way to the heaven, to the universe. So that's why we got to be careful what I say. That's why I keep telling people we got to stop lying to the universe, start lying to nature. As long as we keep lying to the universe and nature, man gonna keep lying. Because it's all about money to the rich, man. It's not about helping you to get righteous. And even the food they sell, they tell you not to eat it. McDonald's and all that fast food, but we still eat it because you're addicted to it. And I tell everybody, I say, man, they playing on our minds with color too. You know how they say white will make you calm down, with your will, black will jack you up because it's energy. So if you look at McDonald's, Burger King, and Wendy's, they all got the same color scheme. They got red and yellow. And see, the red is the key. See, because most people are attracted to red. They do something to their psyche. It get them fired up. It get them excited. That's why a lot of men like to see women in red dresses or red high heels. Their color, it kind of triggers their libido. Oh, you look sexy in that red, you know, playing with your color. So the fast food, it associates something with aggressive or fast. You're going to get it fast. Then you go to a fine diner. They're going to have more earth tone, earth tone. Excuse me. You know what happened now? And they might have some music playing. The earth tone is like brown, green. The atmosphere, the lights be turned down a little bit lower because you're going to sit down and conversate. But see, they playing on your emotions. Sometimes they might have a piano playing while you eat the music. See, so we got to be careful about those colors and everything because, like I say, the flowers, they get their colors from the sun rays. That's why all the flowers have different colors. You got red roses, you got yellow roses, you got pink flowers, you got yellow flowers, you got purple. It all come from the sun rays. So they let you know all colors come from the dark matter, the blackness. Because you add all the rainbow colors together, you see they turn black. You add all those colors of the flowers together, it's going to turn black. But you never seen a black flower. I don't know if it exists now. Don't get me wrong now, but I haven't seen one. But everything needs to come out green, yellow, all the color spectrum. So all colors come from the primary colors. The red, yellow, and the blue. Primary colors. You get all colors from those colors. So the rainbow represents it's the water and the sun. When it hit it, it reflects the molecules in the water. And that's where to get its color from. It's reflecting the minute melanin. So that represents the air we breathe. The rainbow, reading the rainbow. The rainbow has a lot of information. That's why the Africans, they reading the rainbow. That's what they were talking about. Not talking about a pot of gold or something like that in the rainbow. That's fairy tale. That's make believe. And the leprechaun on the other side is no. There was twat people over in Ireland. They was talking about them. They were magical because they were shoemakers and all of that. It was magic to the white people, but it wasn't magic to them. And see, that's where St. Patrick came in. They had snake people over there. They had the twat people. The snake people were the white people. They worship Egyptology. They had the snakes on their head like the Egyptians did. That's why they call them the snake people. But he killed them off and ran them out of Ireland and Scotland and all of those. And then the Twa people, they was the first people there. They was the indigenous people. And they were short, like the pygmies. And that's what they were. They come from Central Africa, from the forest. And you go over there now, they still got the stars in their heads and everything. That's because they knew what the surface of the moon was. They was connected to astrology. So St. Patrick, he killed the snake people and he killed the Twa people. And they gave him a holiday, St. Patrick's Day, a mass murderer, like they did the rest of them. They need to tear his statue down too, and they will. Whoever races is all coming out. White supremacy, you're falling down. White supremacy, you're being exposed. But all the lies we've been raised by being exposed too. So what we're looking for, we already possess and already been, and there's no turning back. There's nothing they can do. Because like I said, let nature take its course. And when everything is clear, we're going to be back on top because we got to lead the world and put the world in order. And they got to follow us. And we the only ones that got the power to do it. But to get our natural powers back and our true powers back, it was taken from us. But now we're getting it back. Our true state of conscious mind, we're getting it back. And that's a mighty weapon. And that's the one and only weapon we need. Is the wisdom. The ancestor wisdom that was left behind us. The ancestor wisdom of the truth and the knowledge of the truth. Because you can have all the knowledge you want. You can have all the degrees you want. But if you don't have the wisdom that guide the hand of that knowledge, you just an educated fool that went to an uneducated school. They taught you what they want you to know. They taught you their history, but they didn't teach us our history. And now you see their history is false. They're trying to take credit for something they didn't do, being a mass murder. So they let you know wherever they went, they killed. Now they got the authority over us, saying who could live and who could die. Who gave them that authority? They took it. But they had to brainwash. They had to bamboozle you. They had to bamboozle your brain. They had to take you from one natural state of mind to an unnatural state. They had to domesticate your mind. But one thing about the brain, it got a strong will to heal itself. Over time, it's going to evolve back into its true self. And that's how nature planned it. You get off road because they know we was going to get out the righteous path. It's part of evolution. You start producing these different cultures, starting these different cultures around the world. Of course, they're going to start believing outside the box. Of course, this is going to happen. But now evolution is coming to its end, which we're still evolving. But in order to move forward, we got to adapt. So we got to adjust to that natural law. And that's the only way that we'll be able to move forward. It's the only way that we'll stop all this chaos on this planet. It's the only way we'll stop white supremacy. Because that's what's causing all of it. So you ask me, all the world leaders and stuff, they are in cahoots. Because all of them create chaos and create wars. They want to fight and kill each other. That's not being civilized. That's being uncivilized. So black man, black woman, we got to stop letting everybody push us around, which we already doing. If you want somebody off your back, you got to stand up. And now that we're standing up, we got to finish it. But we got to look at ourselves and look at that village, look at the family. That's the most important thing. That's the greatest institution before any other institution. The army, the armed forces institutions, the monetary, the religious institutions, the school institutions. All of it is built off of lies and this false education, misdirecting our eyes to their beliefs and their teaching. And what I mean by misdirecting your eyes, they give you illusion and belief to believe in. And once your subconscious mind accept those lies, it's gonna think it's real. That's why I say teach your children to distinguish what's real and what's not real, right from wrong. Those are morals. And we're not giving our children morals today. We're giving them video games. We're spoiling them. Children are running the house. Mommy, I want McDonald's. You stop and get it. A child not supposed to tell you what he want to eat. You're supposed to tell them. Back in the day, the women used to ask their husband what you want to eat because he really wasn't supposed to set the menu. If he's in his right state of mind, he'd know what his family's supposed to eat to be healthy in the medicine that's in that food. He's supposed to know these things. How you going to guide your family and lead your family when you haven't been guided and led in the right direction? How you going to be a real true mother to your children when nobody taught you how to be a mother, how to be a wife? See, that's why our problem is that we're not teaching the morals. We're not teaching our children how to get along when they become one. They can't stay together. That's why the divorce rate is so high in America, because they mess with the family unit. As long as you divide and conquer divide the family, you could conquer it. And that's what they're doing. Divide and conquer. But right now, they so divided in the White House, they can't see that they falling into the ground, into the dirt. They can't see that we're rising up. Now, don't get me wrong, some of the scientists, they know what's going on. That's why they're creating all this havoc. You can't tell me those police ain't trained and told to kill black people because they keep doing it. It's already set in their mind. They out there like they shooting deer and stuff, and they get arrested when they kill animals. Oh, God, man, he gave this for me, he blessed me with this. No, God didn't do that. The devil in you did it. Like I say, everybody got their own personal devil. That's that medulla oblongata, the aggressive part of your brain, all the way down your spine. That's the devil in everybody. But can you control that part of your brain? Can you control your emotions? Can you control your anger? Because your own anger consumes you. People say, I cuss them out. Yeah, but when you get mad at people, if you look at yourself, how many times you got sick or had a headache after you done got so mad? They say, you bringing my blood pressure up, so you killing yourself. Use your own energy to destroy your own self. That's why I say it's different between being mad, and a good mad. Good mad, you controlling it, but you proving your point. Yeah. The bad mad is when you can't control it. And that's when most people say what's really on their mind. When they get upset and they can't control their emotions, they get caught up in it. And that's when they're going to say something that they've been hiding all the time, but they really mean. But then they're blaming on the alcohol or blaming on, I was just in my emotions and stuff. No, but you really meant that because that was deeply rooted in you. That's part of your character. I don't know where they came from. Me and you did. It was deeply rooted in you. You was just in a situation you could handle your emotions and you let it out because you was angry. That's why I only accept apologies from people. You meant to do that. You try to put a Band-Aid on it, not because you done got caught and stuff and I done fronted you off. No, none of it exposed you. No. You meant to say that because you was caught up in your emotions, but that's the way you really felt. And that's your true self. You done exposed it. But you kill your own self when you get upset. Oh, he made me mad. No, didn't nobody make you mad. You just couldn't like what he said or did, and it upset you. You might get mad if you hear the truth and stuff you don't understand. Yeah, you're going to get mad. And you got a right to get mad. But can you explain why you mad? Can you explain that person wrong that's bringing you the truth? See, everybody fighting for civil rights, voting rights, women's rights, money rights, all these other rights, but who fight for human rights? Human rights. That's what you got to look at. That's the key right there. When you vote for civil rights, voting rights, or any other kind of rights, you want man to dictate your life. But human rights and the human laws, that's for everybody. That was not given by man. That was given by nature through the universe, through the evolution. That's why I say the blueprint of the truth is written in every child's heart when they're born on this planet. In the right doctrine, in the right methodology to mold and shape that child and put that truth in his matchup. You write it in his head, and that matchup was already in his heart. So if you lie to your children and raise them up by false doctrine, they're going to go through a hard life. The first part of their life, when they get out on their own, they're going to struggle mentally. Now, if they live long enough, by the time they get in their 40s, they'll start calming down. They'll start looking at the world in the right way. Because when you get old, you can't do the things you did when you were young. You can't rob and steal and do that, so you got to reinvent yourself. That's everybody. When you get older, you got to reinvent yourself. You got to adapt to it. And that's the key to grow old. It's a privilege to be able to grow old. We talk about the old people, but it's a privilege to be able to grow and get old. Because a lot of people don't make it because we're so out of order. The family, we're killing each other. The police killing us. We let the foreigners come in our neighborhood and run our stores. But we still killing each other. So who is our real enemy? Is the white man or is it us? No, it's us. The only way that white man is doing that because he want to be us, but that's the only way he know he can subdue you. Now this guy right here, I told you, if they take them guns away, and one-on-one, well, you don't have to be one-on-one. In this case, it was one-on-two. And you see that melanated energy against that Caucasian energy is unmatched. Floyd, if they took the handcuffs off, I guarantee you just whooped all four of those because that melanated energy. So that's the time when you let the beast out because it's energy. So I'm not mad at that brother for because they had a chokehold on it. And I'm pretty sure he was thinking about that man getting choked, so he defended himself, and he got every right to defend himself. They talking about stand your ground law and stuff. They talking about guns and stuff. But nature gave you a stand your ground law. If your life is in danger, you got a right to protect yourself. And if you got a right fight and whoop a police behind, so be it. Or anybody, so be it. Because no man got a right to tell you to get on the ground and submit to your law. See, there's too much authority over a man to me. And that's what they want. They want it to stay this way, but it's not. Now they get ready to dismantle the police force and they start it all over. And things, if you want things to work right, you got to tear it down and build it back up. You got to build it back on righteousness, on the truth. And then it will stand forever. As long as you keep lying and keep raising off the back of slaves, it's going to keep falling. So people is talking about, oh, man, I got 40 acres in the mule. Man, you're going to get the whole planet back. You ain't going to have to pay for nothing. That's coming. You waiting on them to give you something. They ain't gave it to you yet. They paid the Chinese. They paid the Indians. But they ain't paid you. So they still slapping you in your face. And these House Negro politicians, they sitting up there, and some of them actors and everything, they leading you right to them. Get out and vote. So your voice will be heard. And all the time, your voice being heard. Now you right out there in the streets, and you shouting all that wisdom and all that knowledge, and that rebellious voice. You already voice being heard. You ain't gonna need nobody to speak for you. Those politicians don't speak for nobody but themselves. Preachers don't speak for nobody but themselves. Prosperity, that's what they preach. Yeah, you prosper in the pocket. And all the time, the lost sheep, they ain't even found what they're looking for because you're not giving it to them. The same repetition stuff been going on for centuries. You still passing it down, and it's not working. They say common sense. Sometimes you got to use common sense. But if you happy and on top and got money, what you gonna use common sense for? Oh, I'm where I'm supposed to be. I'm living the good life. Yeah, right. That's what you say. Say when change comes, we're gonna see who's living the good life and who's living the bad life. That's when everybody's being tested. These are the times that try men and women's souls. And everybody on this planet is being tested. And the positive people, they coming to the forefront. The negative people, they falling. They've been exposed. So the world is divided right now. But the positive will win out over the negative. So I just want to spend this time right now before I leave. Come back next time. I want to express my gratitude and everything towards the comments everybody been sending. You know, a lot of people think that I went to college and, learn this. No, I'm self-taught. Just like yourself, you're your best teacher. Everybody's the best teacher you could have is yourself. Because when you pick up books and you seek and you find out for yourself, can't nobody tell you nothing different because, hey, I got the facts to back this up. I got a free mind and I got the knowledge and I got the wisdom. And I'm unstoppable. And you are unstoppable. Once you get those two together, can't nobody get the knowledge for you. You got to read for yourself. Can't nobody read for you. You can listen all day and stuff, but you got to educate yourself. And everybody got that same capability of teaching yourself. So if you want, we all born ignorant. If you die ignorant, that's on you. That's your life. And you got a right to do that. A lot of people just satisfied the way it is. Oh, Mike, that's just the way it is. No, it's supposed to be like that. Oh, the white man was put here to be over us and stuff. That's just the way it is. No, well, oh, I was born with two strikes against me because I was born black. See, that's that backwards thinking. You still don't know who you are. They had you thinking you was the lowest. You was nobody. Your hair nappy, your nose wide. But that's the way nature planned it. Your skin, whoa, get out here with your black ugly self. Yeah, that's the way nature planned it. You destroying the image of the original man and original woman. You destroying the image of the true God and the true goddess, yourself. When black is beautiful, black is power. So the black power that we're really talking about is the melanated power. It's the power of the universe. We got the light, world of the light and the world of the dark. The dark world is the black world because when you close your eyes, you're in that darkness. You're in the spiritual world, the underworld. And that's where hell exists. That's your lower vibration. Now your high vibration is your upper brain, the pineal gland. To reach that part of your brain, you got to get the hell out your lower self. You got to tame your lower self and train that beast that's in you. And negative energy, them lies. And that's the only way to do it. You got to extract the lies, replace it with the truth. And then you can reach your higher vibration, your higher frequency. Then you become master of your own emotions. And now you're in the love zone. Self-love, and then you love everybody just like you love yourself. And that's the love everybody looking for. That's that energy, that positive energy of love, the vibration. So I mentioned before about the way they see the world and the way we see the world is in the movies and their music. Our music is about family and love, and our movies about family and love. Dysfunctional family at first, but always at the end, the families come together. So the healing process and how we heal is right in front of you. We do it every time in the movies. Dysfunctional family, but at the end, even jumping the broom. Dysfunctional, but at the end, the families come together. Antoine Fisher, same thing. So I'm gonna come back at you at a later date, later on this week. Black Power, keep the movement going. Don't give up, because let it do what it do. Like I said before, I'm glad every morning I wake up, I thank the universe, thank nature, thank this planet for making me a black man, the original man, the melanated man. Appreciate you listening. Appreciate all your comments and all the love, because that's all I know. That's all I got is love. And like they say, love will conquer hate, and that's what we come in. We gonna conquer all of this hate. But first, we got to love each other in the righteous way. And that's the real unity that we're looking for. So this is Michael Whitehead Hamer, the Rainbow Warrior. We'll talk to you next time. Peace. Black Power.
But oh,